Ah, yahoo! Konnichiwa minasan, Caitlin desu. Hey everyone, welcome to the Fluent in 3 Months YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to greet people in Japanese with Japanese aisatsu. Yoshi, hajimemashou! So the word for greeting in Japanese is aisatsu. And that is the word that you use for any kind of greeting in Japanese. And you probably already know one Japanese greeting, konnichiwa, but that's actually not the most common way to greet people. It's the way to greet people formally. So, like how I said it to you in this video, I don't know you personally. So, even though I tend to talk to you like a friend, I would not in Japanese actually greet you like that. So, that's why if you watch a lot of like YouTube vloggers, they'll often use honorific speech and very formal speech because they're greeting people that they don't know, and that's standard in Japanese culture. So, if you want to greet people with hello in Japanese, you need to know the right ways to say it to all the people you may be talking to. So, let's get started. Hi in Japanese. Yeah. Okay, I know this seems like super simple and ridiculous, but yeah, in Japanese, it's just kind of like, hey, it's super common between friends. So, there's not really actually like a casual common way to say hi like in English. Like we always are like, hey so and so, because we always greet our friends very casually and we always use hey or hi or hello, right? But in Japanese, they don't do that. They actually just use ya like an attention getter. So it's not even really like hello, it's literally just like to get their attention to turn towards you. And sometimes they won't even say that. Sometimes they'll just say, ah, followed by their name. Yeah, Suzuki-chan. いい天気ですね. That means, hi, Suzuki-chan. The weather is really nice today. It's very common to give that kind of greeting where it's like, ah, so-and-so, with some kind of thing about the weather, because that's just polite. In fact, if you're very comfortable with this person, you don't even need to say a greeting at all. You can just use their name as the greeting for hello. So in that case, it could be, Suzuki-chan, 今日いい天気ですね. Hello in Japanese, konnichiwa. As I already mentioned, you probably already know this one, but first let's talk about the pronunciation. It is konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. There are so many bad American pronunciations of that in movies, so I just wanted to clear that up right off the bat. But konnichiwa is actually very formal and a bit awkward, and the Japanese don't use it a whole lot. And a lot of very casual cultures around the world, like in America, if you've ever been to the South in America, you walk around, everyone's like, oh, hey, hun, or, hey, how's it going? And hello. And you'll just be walking past people on the street and they'll wave and say hi to you because it's common courtesy here to acknowledge someone. But in Japan, that's super awkward and they don't do that at all. So you wouldn't be walking on the street and like just pass someone and be like, ah, konnichiwa. No, you wouldn't do that. The only time you would do this is really if like you were greeting someone who is above you in society. So like your boss would be above you. So if you wanted to be like, ah, konnichiwa Tanaka bucho. Bucho is the honorific for boss. So that's kind of how you would greet and use konnichiwa. Namae wa blank desu. So sometimes to greet people, you'll tell them what your name is. For instance, if you were at a business meeting in Japan, your partner might introduce you to someone and then you go, ah, my name is so and so, right? Nice to meet you. So to introduce yourself in Japanese, you would say, Namae wa blank desu. So in my case, I would say, Namae wa Hitorin desu. Or if you want to be more traditional Japanese about it, you can use your last name. Namae wa Sakasasu desu. Because my last name is Sakasas and really hard to pronounce. So Japanese people probably prefer me to use my first name. Ohayo gozaimasu. So in the mornings to greet people, you can say Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu is a very polite way to greet anyone, and it is very common to hear, even sometimes later in the day. And between close friends, it would be shortened to Ohayo. So it sounds just like the state in America, Ohio. That's exactly how you'd say it. Ohio. You just drag out the final U because it's actually Y-O-U, a long O at the end. So, Ohayo or Ohayo gozaimasu, konbanwa. In the evenings, you can say konbanwa to greet others. Again, it's kind of like konnichiwa where it's a little bit more formal, but you can use it in more formal situations to say good evening. Just like how good evening is kind of formal in English too. Oyasumi nasai. So this is more of a parting phrase than it is a greeting, but it still falls under aisatsu in Japanese. So oyasumi nasai means good night. And when you add nasai to it, nasai is actually a command word, and yasumi is the word to rest. So when you say oyasumi, o being honorific, yasumi, nasai, you're saying please go rest. But it's almost like a polite command, like, hey, I want you to go rest. Go have a good night. So oyasumi nasai is very polite to say in more formal situations. When you are talking to friends and family, though, you would just say oyasumi, and you would shorten it and drop the nasai. Ohisashiburi desu ne. If you haven't seen someone in a while, usually at least a month or more, you can say ohisashiburi desu ne. It's a very common greeting in place of hello, especially to like coworkers who maybe have been on a business trip for a while and you see them for the first time, or who have been on vacation and come back. You can say, Suzuki-chan, ohisashiburi desu ne. And that just means long time no see. Yahoo! Yoo-hoo! In Japanese. So I actually really like this because it's so cute. But it's very common to use yahoo between close friends and like the young children or between young children. And it's definitely more of a feminine phrase because it's cutesy. And this is another one like yeah, that's just kind of like exclamation to get their attention and used with their name. So this is more where ya is a bit more masculine. Yahoo is more cute and feminine. Os, hey, in Japanese. This is actually my very favorite Japanese greeting, even though technically in like Japanese societal terms, I should not be using it. I first learned this one in the movie Taiyo no Uta, and it's kind of like a surfer dude greeting, and it's definitely very slangy, and girls don't typically say it because it sounds very masculine and kind of harsh. It can also be used like yes sir or Roger Roger if you're a droid from the Clone Army. And in anime, it is sometimes used that way, but in modern day, it's really just used, between friends. Os. You can also use the phrase oi, which is usually like a loud exclamation, and it's very masculine, so you wouldn't want to use this as a girl very often, but you'll definitely hear that a lot, especially in dramas. A lot of times when guys are calling for someone who's at a distance, they'll be like, oi, o genki desu ka? How are you in Japanese? Like I mentioned before with konnichiwa, it's actually not common to greet someone with how are you every day. I didn't know this for the longest time, but in Japanese, you don't ask someone how they are every day. It's actually weird because there's really no need. Like, they just don't think of things that have changed that much every day. And Japanese are very private people. They don't like to express their emotions a ton. So even if it did change day to day and like they were having a great day yesterday, but now they're terrible, they don't want to tell you that. So asking how they're doing all the time is not common. So it's actually not at all common to use the phrase "o genki desu ka?" It is very formal though, and if you want to use it, that would be used formally with like a boss or something like that. It's actually way more common to use it in past tense, like with "ohisashiburi desu ne," because you're asking how someone's been since you last saw them a long time ago. So the most common way to use this is actually genki datta, tadaima, I'm back in Japanese. So this is the greeting for when you return home. There's actually a specific greeting for it to say, I'm home, I'm back. So when you walk in the door after you've been gone for the day, maybe you're returning home from work, you would say, Tadaima, hajimemashite, nice to meet you in Japanese. Hajimemashite is a way to greet people after they've introduced themselves. You also often say that before you introduce yourself. So if the other person greeted you first and they introduce themselves, you would say, Hajimemashite, hitorin desu. Irashaimase, welcome in Japanese. When you enter a store, a lot of times the store clerks will greet you with this phrase, Irashaimase, and it just means welcome. However, this is not the same phrase that you would use if someone's coming into your home or you're coming into their home. So if you are entering someone else's house, you would say, Ojama shimasu, which means I'm sorry to bother you or I'm sorry to intrude. And it's the polite phrase to say every time you enter anyone else's house. Ojama shimasu, in which they would say something like, ii dozo, like, oh, it's fine, come in. Alright, that wraps it up for this Japanese video lesson today. I hope that you've learned how to say hello in a variety of situations in Japan so that you're prepared to greet anyone. As always, make sure to read the rest of the article below for more insights and ways to say hello, or click the link in the description box. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, comment, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the video and what else you'd like to learn about Japanese. Study hard. もっともっと勉強しましょう。頑張ってね。じゃあね。